Today we're here at Canon HQ where we're checking out a few different things, and in this video we're going to be talking about two new RF lenses. So we've got the brand new 70-200 f2.8 IS lens, and we've got the brand new 85mm f1.2 DS lens as well. Both very exciting lenses for very different reasons. 70-200 of course completes the RF kind of trinity of lenses. So you've got the 15-35, you've got the 24-70, and now you've got the 70-200, all f2.8, all image stabilized as well. So that's a really big thing for cameras like the EOS R, for that ecosystem. It means that within the RF ecosystem, you've now got the three main zoom lenses, the workhorses that most photographers will want to use. And that's a big thing. That's a really big thing for the ecosystem. Now let's talk about that 70-200 a little bit more in depth. So you can see it's smaller than the EF version. It's about 27% shorter than the EF. It's also about 28% lighter. So it's a little bit lighter to hold. That goes well with the kind of smaller form factor of the EOS R and the RP. And the way that Canon have managed to do that, part of the advantage of the RF system with the lenses is they're able to make better image quality, but using fewer elements inside the lenses, and that's what makes it lighter and smaller as well, which is great. Now the 70-200 has still got a 70cm minimum focusing distance, and Canon have included a sub-wave coating, which reduces flaring and ghosting. Now for the first time ever, Canon have managed to put a dual nano USM motors in the lens, which means that it's faster, it's more accurate, it's quieter, and it's more efficient with its power usage. It's still a push and pull zoom, but Canon have managed to put a filter in the little kind of area between the barrels. And that means that it's able to reduce the dust and the air pulled into the lens when you're zooming. Now that's a big thing because we all know that you can end up with dust inside your lens, so having that filter in there is really quite a clever move to enable you to keep doing that without having to worry too much about the dust getting into the lens. Now as I mentioned before, it's an image stabilized lens, which means that the 15-35, the 24-70 and the 70-200 are all image stabilized. You've got 5 stops of image stabilization in the lens. That's great. I actually use the EF version of this lens a lot for video use. I know a few people who do actually for handheld video use, so having that IS in the lens is a great move because it makes it a very, very versatile lens, whether you want to do lower light shooting and use a slower shutter speed, or whether you want to do some of that handheld video shooting. Now moving on to the RF 85mm f1.2 DS lens, the big thing here is that DS. Now that stands for defocused smoothing, and it gives a very different look to the image and a very different look and feel to the bokeh. You're essentially getting a much softer, more feathered bokeh. It's a much smoother, kind of diffused, softer is certainly the word I would use for the bokeh. So rather than having the sharper bokeh balls that you might expect from light in the background, you're going to have a much more diffused, feathered look to those light balls in the background of your bokeh. Now that's a very unique look. It's not necessarily going to appeal to everyone, but I think it actually looks really nice. It gives a very dreamlike quality to the image. Now obviously this is an f1.2 lens, so you can get some really lovely bokeh in there, great for portraits, but actually speaking to Canon, this would be great for all kinds of different things. You know, having that very soft bokeh background is going to be great for really isolating something in the picture. So whether you want to do food photography or anything really where you want to isolate something there. Now even though it is an f1.2 lens, Canon were actually explaining to us that part of the way they achieve this defocus smoothing look is by using a special type of coating. But that does mean that it actually ends up being about a stop less light that actually comes through to the sensor due to this coating. So that's worth being aware of. Now, I can't imagine that's really going to cause many problems. The EOS R in particular is one of the best cameras I've ever used for low light shooting, with its ability to handle higher ISO, and even with losing a stop of light, it is just one stop. It's really not that big a deal, I don't think, and in controlled lighting situations this lens is really going to be able to shine. It's still very comfortable to use, much like the other 85 1.2, and it's weather sealed as well. Now both of these lenses are really exciting for very different reasons. You know, the 70-200 is probably more of a workhorse, an all-rounder, and the 85mm is very much going to be, it's quite a unique lens, and I think it's going to be something that's not for everyone, but it's a very interesting lens, and I think it's nice to see some new things being tried here. Now if you have any questions about either lens, pop them down in the comments below, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe because we've got new stuff all the time. I'll see you in the next video, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.